So just to reiterate, my name is Nafisa, and so they call me a jewelry designer, but I'm in the business of making women fall in love with themselves over and over again. That is what I do. And so it feels really apt that I've been invited here a day after Valentine's Day to be DTB's Valentine and to share this space with you. It is such a deep honor for me to be here this morning, and I'm so grateful to share the space. So, to be honest, there's an element of disbelief that I'm even here today. I am a very proudly Kenyan entrepreneur, businesswoman, but I get invited to an event like this to speak alongside Dr. Gitau and Julie Gashuru, and I'm saying to myself, did you guys make a mistake? I don't know, I can suggest some other Nafisas that might be more appropriate. And it just blew my mind. So I'm gonna admit that last night, the nerves kicked in. They kicked in big time. And so I was trying to figure out, what am I gonna do to make you guys take me seriously today? Someone who doesn't have a business background prior to Honeycomb Jewellery, someone who doesn't have a degree in business, someone who Sagi met when I was working for a company that was selling water and I was a salesperson for this company. How are you gonna take me seriously? And so I did what any woman would do. I asked Uncle Google. I said, Google, what do business women wear? What attire, right? And so and I went straight to the images. And these images that pulled up showed me some beautiful, slender women in business suits. Now, here's the thing. I'm still trying to shed the COVID-15 lockdown, like the 15 pounds that I gained. So I can't fit into my business suits, but I found a blazer that kind of fits. I pulled out some glasses that I haven't worn in, I'll be honest, like a year. I don't need these, they're not even prescription. But I think maybe they make me look a little bit smarter. Maybe you'll take me seriously. Is it working? Okay. But here's the thing, guys. It's not me. It's not me anymore. It is not the authentic me. Don't get too excited here. It's only the jacket that's coming off. Thank you so much. It's only the jacket, don't get too excited. But authenticity and being real and being true to myself is what I live for in this brand that I'm building. This brand that I represent is me. There is no difference really between Honeycomb Jewellery and Nafisa. It is inherently me. It has given me the ability to tell my story, to be vulnerable, and to not feel like I'm ashamed to say, I don't really know what I'm doing sometimes. And it's okay. And I've learned that it is okay. So I'm telling you that today, my heart is beating out of my chest. Still, because I am standing alongside these incredibly phenomenal women who are standing in front of you. And I'm saying, y'all sure you didn't make a mistake still? So here's the thing. When I started the business, I was working for a nonprofit organization at the time. I'm not going to get into details about that. It turns out I'm just not cut out for, I have a good heart, but I'm just not cut out for that kind of work. But when I got into the space, it was something, it's not like I haven't dreamt of jewelry all my life. It's not something that I have always wanted to do. It was something I stumbled upon. And my fellow jewelry designers were telling me what to do. They were saying, listen, if you want to get your brand noticed, you need to get that out there, get into all the fairs and the markets, the BizBazes and the Xboxes and the Spring Valley Bazaar and all these events so that people will know who your brand is, because who knows you? You're a nobody. And guess what? As a person, I'm also not well known. It's not like I come from a huge network or a big family that knows, is known. So how was I going to build this brand? But it didn't feel great for me or my brand. It felt like I was kind of faking it to be this person. So guess what? It did not work. I did probably about 4 events. Me in my one-woman showness, loading stuff into my car, heavy props, jewelry, getting there, kind of, setting up and standing on my feet for 2 days straight, no bathroom breaks. Oh, good God, no bathroom breaks. And trying so hard to be distinctive in a sea of vendors. You're competing with against, like 30 other vendors who are trying to sell their wares to people. And these people are coming in and they're bargain shoppers. Or they're, just looking for a Christmas gift or whatever it was. And I so arrogantly thought, but each piece that I have is bespoke. It has a story behind it. It needs to gain that attention and, respect. Couldn't do it at the fairs. And so, yeah, I tanked. I didn't make any money the first couple of fairs. I made some money in the other fairs that followed. And then I looked at my fellow jewelers, and I'm talking about big brands that you all know, and they were thriving in that environment, thriving. They were raking in the money, and I'm saying to myself, oh my, what's going on? But you know what? I have such a passion for what I do, and I believe so strongly in my craft and my brand that I did not want my narrative to be that I'm not in the right business. I refused to believe that. What I did was say, okay, so this avenue isn't going to work for my business. What do I need to tweak to make it work? And so I decided, because I did not enjoy, you're at the mercy of the weather conditions, you're at the mercy of how someone organizes an event and the decisions that they make, and then you've got all these other people around. It was too much. It was not enjoyable for me. So I decided to start holding my own private showcases for jewelry. Sounds fancy schmancy, doesn't it? Private showcases, hors d'oeuvres and drinks by Honeycomb Jewellery. But really what I did was I took the living space in my apartment, I rearranged the furniture, and I created a display space on my terms, okay? And I invited 15 friends at a time, and I would tell them, come along with 1 or 2 other friends. And in the afternoon, on a Saturday, I would make more money in 2.5 hours at that event where people were just hanging out and just feeling the vibe, listening to the music. No pressure to buy, but they inevitably bought 1, 5, 7 pieces. And I was making more in that one afternoon, 2.5 hours, than I was making over 2 days, stint standing at Spring Valley Bazaar, feeling like I was begging people to listen to me. Did not feel good that way. This felt great. So it was working. And I was just riding a wave. And you know what the big bonus was? Is it was giving me a chance to interact, to develop relationships, to give an experience. And it was just because I've always had this idea that it's about meaningful connection between people. It's about me connecting with you to understand what your personal story is. Why is it that you're, doing what you do? For me, that's what drives me. And it was giving me the ability to do that. It was working really great. And I was riding this wave. I ended 2019 on a big high for my business. I mean, December, great business. I had a big event in December. And then 2020, I had a decent January, and On the 15th of February, so exactly a year ago today, I had my last event, my last private event. Went really well, was great. The theme was self-love. You know, come in, spoil yourself, celebrate the other women in your life. It was a great event. And I was getting comfortable. That's the truth. I was getting comfortable. I was like, this is a really sweet spot I'm in right now. I was feeling arrogant because I'm thinking, look at how soon after I've left employment, I'm thriving. It was good. I was feeling good. So this is the point in the movie where there's, you know, the plot thickens, there's like some significant event, and you're like, now you're riveted. It gets really exciting, right? Because you're like, oh man, I did not see that coming. Because COVID hit. And I'm a bit of a potty mouth, so I'm gonna watch what I say here, but it kicked my rear end. It kicked me so hard. My business, I just didn't know what was happening. I didn't know what I was gonna do. I was terrified. I have an elderly mother that I take care of, and I pay rent for my home, and I was thinking, I am so in trouble here. And just to share with you, in the first 4 months that followed after COVID, I was doing an average monthly gross sales of about 10 to 15 grand, 10 to 15,000 shillings. I had the conversation with my mom, the really difficult conversation to say, Mama, I messed up. I think we're gonna have to move out and move into a friend's guest room because I'm not gonna make it. I'm not gonna be able to do this. And you know what? There were times when I couldn't get out of bed. But the thing about it is, whilst I was thinking about how I was gonna earn the income to sustain myself, I did not want to believe a narrative that meant or that stated that Honeycomb jewelry was not going to be. I didn't want that. And then I had a bit of an aha moment. I'm a big believer in what you focus on expands. And you know what? Everything I read, every time I went online, every time I talked to a friend, every time I turned on the news, people were talking about the economy tanking, people were talking about businesses suffering, and I was in a non-essential business. Jewelry. I mean, like, really? And I was thinking, okay, so this was my narrative. Nobody's gonna buy jewelry. Nobody's gonna care about this stuff. And something happened. And I said, hang on a second. I really don't wanna believe this narrative. I don't wanna believe it because I have such a passion for what I do and I have a good thing going here. And so it's almost as if I was divinely guided to just shift my focus 15 degrees to the right. And in this new perspective that I had, I realized there's a bunch of people who do have cash that they cannot any longer spend on entertainment, on travel, on whatever it is. They've got extra money. They're willing to pay for things that are non-essential. But let me also say, my jewelry is not run-of-the-mill. I hope it doesn't sound arrogant to say that, but I feel like my jewelry tells a story. There's an inspiration behind each piece. It will connect with someone. It's a meaningful purchase. And so, thanks to Al-Karim, thanks to DTB and a company called DPO, I moved swiftly to get my company online. I had, I think within about 6 weeks, fully fledged e-commerce platform, and I started to pump in money to digital marketing. Social media marketing especially. I have not turned off that tap because of what it is doing for me. And guess what? In the middle of a global pandemic, for someone who is selling jewelry, I am currently making more than any job has ever paid me. I don't know how long that's gonna last. I know that there will be another curveball. I know that I will have to continue to be fluid and to stay fluid and adaptable, and I'm okay with that. I don't want my story to end so soon. But I know that as much as I think that this is it, I have to be open to the fact that it may change. I heard you loud and clear. So today, the clients that I have my brand reaching are clients that there's no way my brand would have reached, for sure. This thing, of 2 degrees of separation, there's no way that my brand would be doing what it's doing right now if I had stayed on the same trajectory I was before COVID. So I'm just curious. I tend to do things against the grain. I'm not your, I may say things that are controversial, but I'm just curious. How many people here, just by show of hands, believe that you absolutely must do a business plan before you venture into a business? How many of you see the importance of that? No one? Okay. Should you not do a business plan before you? Okay, the books tell you. Anyone else? So I've got a couple of half. So there's a handful of people. But I just want to demonstrate something. So may I have a volunteer? Please don't let me pick on you. Just a volunteer. You don't have to come up in front of anyone. Just where you are. Anyone who volunteers? Oh, come on, guys. Thank you so much. The lovely lady in red. May I ask what your name is? Akinyi. So nice to meet you, Akinyi. Thank you for volunteering and for not making me look so bad. So Akinyi, I want to ask you to do something for me. Just humor me, okay? I want you to have your feet planted firmly on the floor, okay? You could. And those are some really nice looking shoes. So I'd like you to actually face me if you don't mind. So just stand here. So feet firmly planted on the floor, okay? Don't move your feet, whatever you do. And I'd like you to raise your hand and point at me, and then swivel around as far back, the other way, far back as you can. Turn around to look, and point at, where are you pointing? Are you pointing at Sagi or Al-Karim? Al-Karim? Is she pointing at you? Okay, Sarah, okay. Turn around. Okay, thank you. Now I'd like you to close your eyes, please. And with your feet firmly planted, take a deep breath. And I'd like you to raise your hand again, point at me, and swivel around. And just keep going as far as you can. Just keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going. Okay. Has she gone a little bit farther then? Okay, great. Akinyi, you can come back. Open your eyes. Amazing. Okay, you can open your eyes now. Thank you so much. Can we give Akinyi a round of applause, please? Thank you so much. Now listen, that thing always blows my mind. I can't remember who introduced me to that. But you know what gets me is the metaphor, the huge metaphor behind that. I didn't do a business plan, okay? I had people strongly suggest that before I gave in a resignation. No, he didn't. No. But I had people strongly suggest that before I made any moves to leave stability of employment, that I needed to do a business plan because I had a mother to take care of. Huh? And I decided not to. Because let me tell you something. I could have never fathomed that I would have grown in the span that I have and to the level that I had. Had I written those projections down, I honestly believe I would have capped my possibilities and my limitations. And I just feel like what it has done for me right now is continue to have those possibilities evolve and grow. And I can see the sense in doing a business plan, especially if you're looking for investors. I'm not bashing it. I just wanted to use what Akinyi did there as a metaphor for getting out of our own way. Because sometimes we're our biggest obstacle. And that's what I did. So you know what? Everyone's got their own journey. Everyone's got their own story. I was only here to tell mine. I'm not coming in from a place of authority in any way. But I can only hope that, if anything, my story just inspires hope that it inspires you to look in a direction where you don't feed into the negativity. Because if you want to find it, it's there for you to find, but perhaps you change your vision a little bit and look for the things that give you hope. And for you to get out of your own way so that your business can soar to heights that you could only imagine right now. My name is Nafisa, and I am in the business of making women fall in love with themselves.